It being 7 p.m. on Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, we'll begin this evening's select board meeting. Before we start, I'm going to have a special guest come forward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We have retired Sergeant Major David Carden. Please come on. You can just come right up to the front of the table there. They're perfect.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the first item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? Very good. Review of the minutes for April 17th, 2024. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll move to approve the minutes for April 17, 2020.
I'll second.
Any discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item, treasurer collector John Kittredge, general obligation bond anticipation notes sale. All right, so let's, we'll jump out of order. The next item, common victualler license hearing, 138 to 142 High Street. Lauren and Chris Nanoff doing business as The Fountain Confections. Please come up. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Great.
All right, so where this is in the hearing, we will open up if you want to share some information.
All right, so my name's Lauren Nanoff. That's Chris. So we have rented 138 and 142 High Street, which is at the end of the Oxford Court building, right next to the Palace Barber Shop. Our plans going forward, our premise of the business is an old school soda shop. So on the left in 138, we are going to have craft sodas, soft serve, and cookies. And then the whole right side at 142 is candy, so penny candy, gift giving. And then with that, because we do gifts, we're having helium balloons and we have like grab and go balloon garlands for parties. We also bought like a laser inkjet printer to do custom logo cookies, photo cookies. So we have all the party goods you can imagine having. Ice cream sandwiches, etc.
So yeah, as you flip through it, you kind of see all the different phases of the business that we are planning on. We're still a few weeks out at least on having 138 anywhere near ready to go. But we've got equipment ordered, plans to the boards. We've met with the Board of Health already, and they've been actively helping us. Lee has been instrumental in helping us get to where we need to go to this point. So this was our next step in the process to come here tonight, I believe.
Just got our architectural plans completed last week, Friday, I believe. So we have to submit those to get our building permit, the 138. But 142, the candy side, is just shelving really that we have to pop up for like the penny candy and candy, etc. So
Excellent. Very good. Being a hearing, is there anyone here to speak in support of this license? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition of this license? All right, so there being none, we'll close that portion of the hearing. Are there any questions from the board?
No questions. I'm just surprised Phil didn't try to sell you guys on Gene's Auto. To put that's where he wants an ice cream place to go.
I just have sure. Lauren, when the kids go into the candy side of it, so they'd be get like a bag or something like that, pick out what they want, and then you just weigh it, Oh,
Yep.
fantastic. That's
yes.
like up in Wells.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
have 2 POS systems for each side. So the candy side will be fully staffed and then the other side. So yeah, weighed scale.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have 48 feet, we figured, of penny candy.
It's a lot.
not a penny anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a penny,
Yeah.
but
No, you're trying to figure out
Oh,
a different word. I know.
Very good. Any other questions?
No, did you, sorry, I was just gonna ask if, what do you think your opening date might
So,
be? Ish,
yeah, mid
the summer?
to end June for the.
realistically, like I
Yeah,
think our plan.
I mean, sorry.
For the soft serve and soda side would be, I think we could probably get completed by the middle of June, providing everything goes smoothly and just kind of quietly open our doors and then have our grand opening be the week after the 4th of July. So if we could do that, like quietly open and have people come in, really start to figure out what works, if we need to rearrange anything, reorganize our POS system because it's just a little clunky, right? Like kind of do 2 weeks of that and then have the grand opening be that week after the 4th of July. That's the goal. We'll see if we get there. The candy side now being at 142, like we could envision that opening sooner. Just working with the Board of Health to make sure we have everything in place. But the other part of the business is the traveling side of it, right? So we've already contacted Parks and Rec to work with them to maybe do a cart in the park at some point for some of their events and outside and be able to kind of take this thing mobile. Part of the business that we've been looking at is, bringing 4 sodas, right? If the menu has 15, we bring 4 to an event and you're allowed, you can choose from one of those 4. We bring some of the cookies. The ice cream wouldn't travel too well, but that's, obviously a little bit further out, but one of our long-term goals.
And that sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
very
excited.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Any other questions? What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll move to approve the application for the common matriculars license for Chris and Lauren Nanoff doing business as the Fountain Connection.
I'll second that.
Confection, sorry, confections.
I'll second that.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we had moved over the general obligation bond anticipation. Are you ready to go?
Sure.
Sure.
Yep.
All right, so let's go back to the treasurer collector. John Kittredge, general obligation bond anticipation note sale.
So, Mr. Chair, this is just a rollover of temporary borrowing for outstanding projects that are in progress right now. So it's $3,337,280. It will be for 1 year at 4% through Fidelity Capital Market. There was the same company that was the low bidder last year at 4%. The money is a little bit more because there was more work done on these projects from last year. So we're borrowing a little bit more. But generally, we'll do temporary borrowing until the project's complete, and then it will go out for permanent bonding at that time. So this is just roll over the same note from last year.
Very good. What's the pleasure of the board?
Also move, Mr. Chairman, we approve it.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And we do have a packet that we need board members, several places to sign after the meeting. So thank you.
Very good. The next item on the agenda. Liquor license transfer for 2 Water Street. The select board has received an application for transfer of an all alcohol restaurant license from Peter M. Ford to Brazilian Flavor Bakery and Restaurant of Clinton Incorporated, doing business as Brazilian Flavor Bakery and Restaurant for the premises located at 2 Water Street in Clinton with Priscilla Fortiza as manager of record. Are they here? If you'd please come up and introduce yourself, and you can have anyone join you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Priscilla Forteza. I'm the manager of the Brazilian Bakery, and he's my partner.
Very good. So we're looking for a transfer.
Transfer the license, the liquor license.
Could you just speak up? I'm having trouble.
Yeah, we are looking to transfer the previous license to our bakery.
Thank you.
Is this, Ringside?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
Any questions from the board?
Let's see here.
Does he have?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Is there anyone here to speak in support of this transfer? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition of this transfer? All right, so we'll close that portion of the hearing and we'll open it up to questions from the board.
Mr. Chair, can you just tell your plans? I know the layout of the place. It seems it's going to be all alcohol. Is it?
Not alcohol. Right now we have a bakery, is a restaurant, and also we sell meats. Our goal is to make like a mini restaurant and serve some liquor with our customer being asking when they have the dinner, they are asking,
Okay.
can we have a glass of wine or a beer? And we don't have none. So we are trying to bring that into the table.
That's all for me.
Any other questions? What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we grant them the request for the license for 2 Water Street.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The next step.
All set? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Have a great night. All right, next, we have library director, proposed sites for library grant project. If you please come up.
So this is just a return from last meeting. Now that you've had 2 weeks to review the paperwork, there was the pros and cons of the 2 alternate sites, because we have to propose, the town has to propose 2 sites, and the current library is 1 site. And then the other 2 sites that were on the fence about was 150 School Street and 239 Chestnut Street, which is, from what I understand, a former American Legion. Anyway, so I know we discussed the pros and cons is what the sheet is. And we just would like the select board. It's meant to be discussion, the select board's input. I know Sean gave his opinion last time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I guess I would say that my first would be the existing library.
Yep.
And the second, the former American Legion.
Okay,
Site.
thank you. That's great.
I would have the same preference.
Okay. I mean, that's great. It just wanted your feedback. And the other thing was, there was a big legal document that solicitor had gone over, and I hope that he forwarded it to you, or Mike forwarded it to you. And there's just some signatures that we need, that the select board needs to sign off for about understanding the. And if you don't have the sheet that I have an additional one you can sign.
Mr. Chair, did Bob have a chance to look at that?
Yeah, Bob, the town council did review those, and they're pretty much, he said they were standard grant rules. So if you want to apply for the grant, you got to abide by those guidelines. So he looked into it, and he did send an email saying that he was fine with entry into the agreement.
So I'm just gonna let you all sign this, and then you can
Is this,
just submit.
want this existing one?
This one just didn't have 5 spaces left, only had 4, and it wanted to fill it.
Yeah, that one was signed by the trustees on that one, so I don't know if you want separate ones or two.
Well, I didn't want.
We need a vote on this, or?
I was just gonna say, shouldn't we have a formal vote as to the sites?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we endorse 2 sites for the potential library project. The The first being the current site and the second being the Chestnut Street site of the former.
I'll second that.
And then authorize the grant to be filed.
And authorize the grant to be filed. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All Favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Do you need this to, we can just sign it and leave it?
Give it to Mike and I'll pick it up, tomorrow.
Great. Thank
So
you.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
I'm the
much.
clerk. I'll hold on to that, Mr. Chair.
Next item on the agenda, the Community and Economic Development Director, Phil Duffy, if you please come up. The first item is the electric vehicle charging stations, the utility easement for municipal.
Yes, members of the board, good evening. Very straightforward. First two matters, in order to complete engineering for two projects that you have approved that involve electrical service, National Grid has requested easements to allow them onto the property to do the work and to maintain a right of way for the utility trenches. The first of these is the EV charging stations. We received a grant in 2022, I believe, to maybe it was 2023. We received a grant to install type 2 chargers while National Grid was doing the engineering for that project. Another grant opportunity to install type 1 chargers, the faster chargers, came up. The state executive office of environment and energy allowed us to extend our awarded grant to see if we could get the other grant. That's where we are now. But in order to do that engineering, National Grid is asking for these easements. So the first would be for 24 Water Street and 142 Church Street.
I'm just getting the language here, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry. Mr. Chair, I move that the town grant limited easements to National Grid for properties at 24 Walnut Street and 142 Church Street for the purpose of installation of electric vehicle charging stations.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Are these we're gonna hold off on these being live too? Are these,
Same as the ones at the parks, Mark.
right, does this fall under our no free charging policy?
Jim.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's quite a different matter than what we said for a fee structure, but yeah, there'll be a fee structure.
Thanks.
Will it be the same company?
It depends on what kind of chargers they are. To be honest, I have been told what was specified for the awarded grant, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. I can certainly find that.
Just to keep things kind of consistent where.
Yeah, yeah.
Any further discussion? Favor?
Aye. Thank you.
The
Section,
next- Yep, the next item, LED community message boards, utility easements for 559 Main Street, 75 West Boylston Street, and 200 West Boylston Street.
same story. Engineering is required for these installs. National Grid is requesting an easement. I'm showing 3 locations because at the high school, we don't know right now if it's which side of the street it's going to go on. There are existing high voltage power lines that crisscross that site, and it's making the actual location of that site indeterminate right now. So we just this afternoon, got pricing on both locations. I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to open the email. I was busy all afternoon. But we will be granting an easement presumably on 2 of those properties, not 3. But I don't know which of the high school parcels, middle school parcels is going to be the one that we land on.
Okay, so 75 and 200 is like either or.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move that the town grant limited easements to National Grid for properties at 559 Main Street, 75 West Boylston Street, and or 200 West Boylston Street for the purpose of installation of LED community message boards.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Thank you for doing this. I know it's something the board is excited about, and I think the town will be too once they see them.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your board's input. Your input made the signs better, frankly.
Any other discussion?
There's a first time for
I
everything.
know.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the.
Acknowledging.
All right, so Clinton ARPA Small Business Growth and Recovery Program recommendations of award for Nonstop Nutrition LLC.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have with me Angel Perez, the owner of Nonstop Nutrition LLC, available to answer any questions you might have about the business or the proposed project. You may recall the Growth and Recovery Program is one of our ARPA small business assistance programs targeted towards businesses in what are called affected industries. These are the areas of economic activity that were particularly hard hit during COVID: travel, tourism, and hospitality. And that includes things like gyms. Nonstop Nutrition has been located on High Street, just on the other side of the railroad bridge, since 2021. It is proposing to relocate to a more advantageous business location. It is in part in response to COVID. Angel has he's demonstrated that he has the matching funds in place, that he has a 3-year lease with the owner of his new address, 3745 High Street, and has submitted some proposals from cabinet installer, electrician, and plumber. And based on his information, as well as the financial information that he provided me as to what the projections he's making for increased activity at his new location and the reasons why he believes that it will increase, I'm recommending that we make an award of 50% of his project cost, that amount being $8,835.
This is the pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chair, I move that the town approve an ARPA Growth and Recovery Program award in the amount of $8,835 to Nonstop Nutrition LLC. Such funds to be used for modification of premises at 45 High Street.
I'll second that.
Where is this location?
It's in the gym, right?
Yeah. It's in the, okay, very good. Any other
Makes sense to me.
questions?
Nope.
All right, there be none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
I got one more, do I?
Oh, yeah.
Commercial space inventory update. Mr. Debo had requested information about the commercial, the vacant commercial space in the town, and
Sure, and to follow up on that, I think in your packet last week, you had the existing inventory that we have, which is going on 10 years now of data on tenancy and vacancy in 124 downtown projects, downtown storefronts and upper floor spaces. I think the idea is to expand that to be a town-wide inventory. If that's the case, that's certainly something we can do. Given the present workflow and demands on the office, I think that if we want to set a timeline for 3 or 4 months, I think that we could have that in place and have it with the degree of specificity that you see in the existing inventory, where we even inventoried addresses, square footage, condition of the building, current activity by what's called the NICSCO, the North American Industrial Classification System. So, so we'll have an idea of what we have for space. We don't include things in the inventory like the advertised price or the lease price. That information is too volatile. But we'll know what we have. That space, that has been a resource innumerable times, both in justifying funding requests and in being able to pass on information to people who call or looking and inquiring after space.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question. Just taking like the building where Papacolis is. Those 2 storefronts have been vacant for, oh my God, a long, long time.
Yes.
So, I mean, does your office work with the owner of the building? How would you reach out? Are you I mean,
We reach out.
just to give me some insight to,
Um,
do you work with the owner to, or how are we doing it? Because,
we are making connections, which is to say that if somebody says they're interested in a space or that they are interested in opening a business and they're looking for a space, we learn a little about what they're proposing to do, what they understand their spatial needs to be, what they are looking for in terms of visibility or, kind of co-location with other similar facilities, just like the Shake guy co-locating at a gym. And then we connect them with the owner or the property owner or the property owner's representative. If the owner is known to be working with a broker, we contact that person. We give that person's contact information. If
So-
not, we pass it on directly to the owner.
but I mean, so that someone has to come approach the town for the vacancies. We don't have a website that's going out like for people to be able to bring it up and say, oh, this town of Clinton, look at this. This is, look at these storefronts that are available here. you know, and who would they contact? I mean, so you're just waiting for someone to contact you. So,
When people do contact us, we do pass out that information. There are private databases like LoopNet and another one, whose name I can't think of, I can't recall what it's called. There are real estate databases that exist in the private sector where this information is available if the owner of the property is actively marketing it. But no, we haven't done that in the past. And I guess one of the reasons we haven't is that when the internet first became a popular thing, you would see those on municipal websites, and they were never updated. Basically, it's a different task to keep those spaces updated, but it is something we certainly look at, especially with having staff with the downtown consultants.
You know, I know we had discussed, adding it to the town webpage. You know, in order to, one, you know, there's things on there, you know, the how to start a business, things of that nature. So it seems like it would make sense to have some sort of resource located on the town website, whether it's linking to those sites that you're referring to. So it's not so cumbersome to maintain it. But it seems like there would be a natural place for it to be, the community and economic development page, right?
Okay.
Without having to burden you with maintaining a web page, right? But so even if it's something that we can link, where you just have to maintain a web link.
Well, what I might suggest is this, and not at your next meeting because we've got other irons in the fire right now, but let me do some research to understand how these things, what models might exist for what we're describing. You know, for instance, obviously we'd have to have, obviously if we're to set up something like that, first of all, we'd make sure that we're not competing with realtors and brokers, people who make their living this way. And also that we'd also have to ensure that the property owners whose information is being shared, they want it to be shared. So that, let me see what exists for models for what we're talking about, what they look like and how they're managed.
well, it just seems to me, excuse me, it just seems to me that if everybody got in the same room, I mean, why would realtors or someone that potentially could make from this project, it just seems to me that it's beneficial for everyone. I mean, it seems sad because, you know, so much has been invested down there, and there's like the old Stowers and different places you see them. And I mean, I've gone to other, like when you go to the western part of the state and you see these little communities that have just blossomed into these beautiful little towns. That's all I'm saying.
I can assure you that it is not through lack of contact, our lack of contact with these property owners that these spaces are still vacant. The number of contacts that we have forwarded to the building you're speaking of in particular, number in the dozens.
I'm sorry?
The number of contacts that we have forwarded to the owner of Papacola's building, for instance, probably number in the dozens over them.
And I think that kind of opens the conversation to what Mr. Deval had brought forth in the past about a vacancy tax. And, you know, I know, you know, personally, I've received feedback from people that have looked at different properties around town. And it sounds like the owners of the property are looking for the potential renter to foot the bill on bringing the buildings up to code or whatever the case may be. And it's, at the end of the day, they're just leasing the space. They don't own that space. And it seems like, you know, with one person in particular, they found another location. So it would be nice to have that a location filled, but you know, I don't want to take
Yeah, I do. I
any
mean,
wind out of your sails, but
I do think it would be a nice idea to have, even if it's just a spreadsheet or a list of available properties on the economic development website. And we're not competing with the real estate, we're helping them. We could put whatever real estate agency is representing those properties in that list, right? With links, as long as they're comfortable with having their links on that website. But I do think it's a good idea to start keeping this database, and I don't disagree that it will be a little bit of work to keep it relatively up to date. But to Chairman Kobus's point, I do think we need to start tracking how many businesses in town, how many years they've gone without any renters or anyone using that property. Because I do think that I think there are some property owners that are really reluctant to bring their buildings up to code for businesses to use. And it's just anecdotal, it's just from complaints or from specific cases that I've heard, but I've been on the board enough where I've heard enough of it where I do think there is I don't know if it's just Clinton or if this is the way it is everywhere, but there is, in my opinion, the property owner should be the one mostly responsible for bringing the building up to code. And they do seem to put pressure on the new businesses coming in to bring the building up to code. And I don't really have a good economic argument other than that just doesn't sound fair to me. I think if you're gonna own property in this town, if you're gonna own commercial property, then your building should be up to code and available to somebody if they're going to rent it. And if over the years, if this is a repeated pattern of, if there's properties that are just not up to code and so that people can't use that property, and because that negatively affects other businesses that are adjacent to that, right? I think we should consider at some point some sort of a vacancy tax, because I think we should work with I don't know what the expression is, the honey or the stick or whatever, right? Yeah, so it's like we should be enticing them to invest in their property any way that we can, but at some point, we have an obligation to look out for some of the adjacent property owners that are doing the right things and they're keeping their buildings up to code. And nobody wants to have your business next door to a business has a front lot that's been empty for like 8-10 years, So that was the thought process behind generating this list, is just to start tracking that and just keeping an eye on it. And I'm sure we can work with the Clinton Chamber of Commerce in this as well, get their input on like what they think would make sense. They have a lot of experience in this matter too. But that's the purpose of what I was asking for.
Mr. Chair. Yeah, Ed, we can take the anecdotal right out of this. The last column on this spreadsheet is slum and blight condition. I counted 124 properties here. 22 are either excellent or good, which means more than 80% are fair or poor. We've put $5 billion in that downtown since I've been here. I would argue that I'm 55 years old. In my lifetime, all of the property owners downtown have not put $5 million into that downtown. I mean, the Strand please, if I'm ever wrong, correct me. The Strand is just the poster child for this dysfunctional family. Like, we're building a road to nowhere down there. I mean, we fixed the sidewalks, we fixed the lights. That street's as good as it's been in my lifetime. And I wish I could say that the blighted properties are the minority. It's 80%. And again, I know that people have come to your office and asked to move in, and they won't spend $1 to fix this up. So I'm not sure. I mean, if they don't believe in the town as much as we do, as much as the town believes in it, please just sell. Because I know there are people who do. And like Mary Rose says, like, that's the difference in communities that are succeeding, is that they have people who are buying in. Like, if the people who own the properties aren't going to spend $1 to fix them, I don't know why they move in. So I don't know. Yeah, we need to figure something out, because this is disheartening at best. Like, I don't know what we do with this. 80% are poor or fair. If anybody has suggestions, please let me know. But at a certain point, I mean, how much more can we give if they're not going to give anything?
But what are we talking about giving in this phase? We're talking about
Wow.
compiling a database.
No. I'm talking about the landlords not investing in our town the way we are. And we've seen success stories.
Yes.
The brewery's making something out of the industrial shed, the Mexican place, all of the restaurants that are succeeding in this town. There is a market for Clinton. And we've done everything we can in the public realm as far as infrastructure. Once it gets to the sidewalks, though, no one else is doing anything. People are sitting on properties. We thought that the Santander property was going to get moved.
Don't mention the sidewalks.
The sidewalks are fine. Sprawling and all. I'm sorry, that's the least of our problems. But we thought once Santander got out, that property was going to be fine. It's not. They're sitting on that because cold feet, which is, I guess it's fine. It's their property. But people are looking at us like, what is the town doing to fix downtown?
Right.
We've done everything. Like, what else are we going to do? I can't go knocking on a guy's door and kick him out and make him fix his property. Like, if they don't believe in it as much as we do, what are we supposed to do? I don't know.
Well, and it hurts the other businesses too, and the health of the community. I mean, I don't want to like kind of sound dramatic, but
I do.
but it is, you see, to Mary's point, Sean's point, like the communities that are thrive, the business that came in today, like, I mean, the excitement around like the balloons, the activity, we want more foot traffic. So I know there are limitations to what we can do as a municipality. We have kind of rolled out the red carpet in terms of infrastructure and tried to build that particular section out. But I mean, economically, I feel like it just is a snowball effect. The more you can have those vacant storefronts filled, the better it is for the health of our citizens, community. So I know, yeah, I don't think we will kind of come up with an answer right now. And I know that your department has led very strong candidates to these places and been just denied or didn't work for them. Sometimes it does take a lot of traffic to get it, but yeah, I mean, it's like, it's kind of sad. Like, it just is, we have some successful ones that have moved to bigger spaces. So I think there is a track record of success here. We have tons of people coming out of town for the restaurants. There's tons of potential, but it's like, so what's the difference? Like, if we have people who are interested, but they can't find space, or these landlords will not renovate the space, like, what, maybe this is more of like a tactical plan to try and figure this out, but
I think Fitchburg did something where
Yeah.
just recently where I think
Mhm.
it's, you register a vacant property, it's $250 the
Yeah.
first year, 500 the second year, 2,500 the third year, something like that.
yeah, I read that article too. It's a viable option, I think, because I think it almost penalizes out those long-term situations, like not the people who are just 6 months, 1 year, we can't find a good tenant, but those long-term.
No, there's no incentive for them to improve their
Yeah.
property because then they're gonna have to pay more taxes on it.
Yeah.
So they'd rather just sit there and let it rot, which is what's happening in downtown. And pretty soon we're gonna find ourselves with a street full of strands. Not in a good way.
You look at 9 Sterling Street, the old gridiron, right? And the number of businesses that tried to establish themselves there. And right now, the Delicus de Nocitera, I mean, that business is thriving, and to your point, they've invested, they're part of the community, and some of these other landlords just seem to be more of an obstacle, or in a
We
way.
have in big, the old Power Breakers building and all those old mill buildings getting renovated. You're gonna have a lot more customers in
Yeah,
that.
and if I can push back on that just a little bit, if you take into, Delicious and Nocitera was probably about 5 years ago they did that work. But the Ringside has been redone. Aubuchon's has made investments.
Yep.
O'Neill has made investments. There's investments going into Main Street. Even though it's empty, the Papa-Cola's guy redid the facades on that building. So, I mean, it's turning slowly in the right direction. I understand the frustration at how slowly things go.
Too slow.
You could be the good cop. We're gonna be the bad cop.
I mean, one might conjecture that has to do with interest rates. It might has to do with the fact that we are not quite.
But these have
This is
been vacant-
generational play.
forever.
This has been vacant.
Generation.
Rates weren't an issue. I mean, if you look down at Shaw's Plaza, the old Primo Pizza, that thing there's broken glass that's been in that building
Yeah.
since I came back here 12 years ago.
I know.
And, there's parking. It seems like it has a great space
You're talking about down at Shaw's.
down at Shaw's,
yeah.
right, the old Primo.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, I've spoken with businesses that engage in lengthy conversations with the owners of that property. I know some tenants who love them and some who have not been able to come to.
So I think that's where the conversation needs to happen with either the management company or the landlords, that this is what's coming down the pipeline.
Mr. Chair, yeah, to be clear, I'm not blaming your office. And in fact, I'm trying to explain to people that people have come to us with good ideas and spaces they wanted, and the landlords refuse to move at all as far as improving those properties. And again, you have to be discreet, that's fine. I don't. But I know that people want to be here and the landlords don't care. And so that's my problem. And I don't have a solution because it's their property. And if they want to see it go to crap, they're watching right now. So, but this is a problem. And if people think that we're not trying, they're not paying attention.
And just to further on that. It's not like that we're expecting these property owners to to lavishly, like, we're just talking about bringing it up to code, right? Just like up to code to be
Move in.
to be usable. I mean, in Phil's defense and like in to his point, like it's not everyone, but I mean, the data is the data, right? I mean, the numbers don't lie. We don't want to, we want to applaud the businesses that are doing the right thing. There are businesses that are investing. There are businesses that were, you know, I know you're picking on the Strand, but like they kind of went through a pretty tough, COVID wasn't the nicest time for it to be a movie theater. I think, but to your point, Sean, as a town, we stepped up and there's $300,000 available in ARPA funds for them to match, which I talked to Phil like earlier this week about, we got to start working with them. We got to do something with that pretty soon, or that money's going to be reallocated, because we can't just, but there's just right now the town is still, downtown was recently redone. It's still new. It's probably going to be quote unquote new for another like 5 or 6 years. And, like now is the time, and with those new condos and luxury apartments coming in on the mill space, I just think now's the time to get aggressive and to kind of address what looks like it has been an ongoing issue of like, we're not asking a lot. We're just, I don't think I'm encouraged to hear that other people, because I'm very much in favor of looking into some sort of a vacancy tax for repeat offenders, for properties that are just not even close to being up to code and have no intention of doing so, and no intention of working with new business owners that are possibly looking to move in there. So I'd like to encourage Phil's office to obviously to work with them to start, but if the more we track this data and the more data we have and the more we can show that this is just a trend on some of these properties that is not changing, I do think we're obligated to take action. Not to be this oppressive like government that's coming down on these property owners, but we have an obligation to look out for the other property owners that are doing the right thing, that are upkeeping their property, that are allowing businesses to flourish there. Nobody wants to be next door to a boarded up, empty building. And I think as much as we can, we should do what we can to try to prevent that.
Agreed. Phil, it looks like the spreadsheet stops at 490 Main Street.
No, it kind of zigs around. So I said it,
Like an overlay.
sadly, I set it up
Okay.
actually to the entries while I was walking, so it doesn't, it actually does like a loop. I know it goes up to 525, which is or 625, which is it goes up to Water Street. So you'll see Delicias de Nosotera and.
Okay, I got you. So
Chamber.
640. Yeah, so it shows 640 Main Street.
Yeah, and that's where it stops. That's what we effectively, that's our downtown targeting.
Right, but so what about Shaw's Plaza?
We'll add that.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
right now it says downtown.
Right, so I
we
mean,
can expand it a
to get an idea of even
Some of those.
Adams Street, I mean, that, they seem to always be advertising tens of thousands of square footage that's available, and but yeah, I think the town as a whole. Very good.
I mean, it's like, how can we market Clinton as a business friendly town from whatever business you've got? But this is super helpful. I think this is.
Yeah, this was
Like
really-
just a great, like, kind of overview to really capture in a spreadsheet what's really going on that we're seeing with our eyes, but that data helps for sure. Thank you for that.
Keep up the good work, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, so the next item, we have the 2024 livery license renewals. The taxi livery ride 423 Water Street. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, I move that we, there's no language here somewhere, sorry.
Yeah.
See, Phil makes it easy on me.
Yeah.
That we approve an annual livery license renewal for Jacqueline Baldessari doing business as the taxi livery ride for 423 Water Street.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2024 annual town meeting draft warrant. The draft warrant has been prepared for review by the select board for annual town meeting that will be held on Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Did everyone have a chance to go through? Are there any articles you'd like to discuss? Or do you feel that we need to go through one by one?
If I have a budget question, should I wait for the budget update or put it here?
You want to merge them together?
Just do it here.
Now
Now you get us interested.
Well, as I'm putting my conservation commission hat, well, I appreciate the finance committee's generosity. I just want to make sure, I got a little confused because the number I had was $20,000 for consulting help. What I'm seeing is that they upped the total budget to 20,000. There was already 7,500 in there. So now the 30 that we asked for got bumped to 20. Now it's 12 and a half. So
So I think part of that was there was something that had been budgeted for previously that was not
spent.
needed. I think that was not needed going forward. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think the finance committee felt, I think the budget had been increased in the past for a specific reason. And so
Do I remember what reason that was? I'm still new here.
They get 7,000 out of it.
Well, that's not going to help us as far as a consultant. We are in, as in the past 2 weeks, we
kind of went around.
things are getting tough down there. And we have a bigger issue that maybe we have to discuss offline, but.
No, I think the intent was to cover the consultant, but yeah, there was like some.
I don't know where the 75 goes. And again, I can check with my fellow commissioners, but that was one thing that caught my eye just because I'm getting all the emails now and we're in dire need of professional help.
Yeah, there was definitely something that was going to
Yeah.
not need to be budgeted for going forward. So then the idea was leave the 7,500 in there, bring it up to the 20,000 that was requested.
Okay.
And then that there was money in another fund.
yeah, they have wetland filing fees, which any
Yeah.
applications go into a
That
separate.
was a question I had,
It
yeah.
would be used for, only used for conservation purposes.
Yeah. For those fees.
I think it may need approval by the select board, but. it
That
has
was a
to-
question I've had on my list, like what that balance was. So
Yeah.
good, great. If that's included.
And the finance committee is meeting tomorrow, so definitely can raise it with them and.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, like I said, not
Yeah.
to sound dramatic, it's
That
not great.
there's 20,000 for a consultant, regardless of other expenses in the department.
Okay.
Okay.
But it was the request was definitely supported.
Yeah.
No, and I certainly appreciate their help. I just know that there are developers who we've approved and that are having trouble getting orders of condition and notice of, like the things they need to move forward because of the technicality of the process. Thanks. I'll circle back later.
Were there any
You're getting that next.
other warrants? Were there any warrants that anyone wanted to review, discuss?
I mean, I just had a question about some of the things that were, I think the public works ones that were gonna include them all, or,
The public works one, that would be for the equipment.
yeah.
So then, the equipment is going to be, the backhoe is going to be tabled for another fiscal year. The chair of the finance committee had requested a ranking of the equipment and that was, ranked last. So then, the decision was to table that one for the following year.
Is that not in here?
Let's see.
Got been updated? No, I see 27 backhoe tractor.
Correct. So
That one's gonna get
27.
striked,
So,
stricken.
as long as, and I wanted to make sure the select board was aware before I took it off, so I just want to make
Okay.
sure that everyone's okay with that, then we can finalize that. Because this, once the board votes tonight, then it'll be going to the paper on Friday. Finance Committee was going to vote on their recommendations tomorrow, and then Friday it'll be sent to the paper so it can be published next Friday.
For the, we have the tennis courts and we also have, so Article 21 and 22 were for the, repair and rehabilitation of the tennis courts at the Clinton High School and also the, track. There had been discussion about in funding these through ARPA. Is that what? Because of the wellness aspect of it.
Yeah, it'd be for recreation facilities, so enhance recreation facilities for outdoor, to get people outdoor activities.
Skate park on there, did you get rid of the skate park thing too, or is that what?
The skate park is still there.
Wouldn't that cover it too?
Probably.
What do we have left? Do we have
Yeah.
a balance sheet and carry?
Actually,
There's
one
one-
point two.
Oh,
And that's not including some of the things that were earmarked that potentially may not be moving forward.
well, what's that, 150? Yeah, I mean, that works for me.
So,
I'll leave it up to finance to me, but that, I don't know.
so
Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I know I brought it up before and we were talking about Sterling Street, 79. Sterling Street, and I know we got the 250
Right.
from Mass Development.
Right.
And we were waiting to see if EPA was going to give us money to
The asbestos.
remove that
Right,
mountain of asbestos and
right.
material. Have we heard anything on that?
There are two avenues that we're pursuing. There's one, a grant program that we're just waiting for final notification on. And then there's the testing that EPA is doing, because then they have an asbestos program. So if they were waiting for the results, if there's asbestos in the pile, they could then give us funding through that program. But there's another program that we're awaiting an answer on a grant from that. It's close to being announced. But
Because I mean, I think it's important for us to save probably the other half to get that removed. I mean, that's 9 acres of land that potentially we could develop. And
Oh, yeah.
so that's all I'm saying is, when you're,
So are we saying that's committed? I don't mind, like that would come first, I would think, cleaning up that property. But if that's not going to go through the 1.2, then
yeah, I don't believe that's been committed on the list yet. And again, if these grants come in, it wouldn't be needed from ARPA, but certainly to make sure there's money there to cover it, I think would be a good thing. But there is a number of funding that's not committed already anyway. So there is plenty of uncommitted money right now.
I mean, I don't have any problem with,
no, but I agree.
the track or the other, but I
You
think,
have to clean that property.
that property has been sitting there for
Yep.
16 years. And, I think it's time that, we're talking about High Street. I think that's, you've got the brewery there and you've got, I mean, I think
Got potential.
time to get rid of that
Yeah.
eyesore.
yes, so until we figure out where we are with the grants and costs, we can,
I'm just saying reserve or put that money aside till,
yeah.
What's that dollar amount? Sorry, I missed it. Do we know?
Which
well,
one?
we got 250 from Mass Health and I think we were talking, not Mass Health,
Mass Development.
Mass Development,
Yeah.
excuse me. We were talking over 500,000.
Right, another 500,000 we've applied through another program as well too. Yeah. And then it's unknown as to how much the EPA we might be
Yeah.
able to get as well if there's asbestos in there too, so.
Yeah, so we don't have to go about committing any of those funds to anything else at this point.
No, we don't need to do that tonight. No, the only question would be on the warrant, if you are going to fund some of these articles through ARPA, they don't need to be on the warrant. They can be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think 21, 22, and 25 were the 3 articles that 45,000, 80,000. Is that 200,000 total?
And again, it's, and on, okay, yeah, well,
Yeah, 200,000.
no, just 25, I just marked a couple that I want to talk about. 25 was one. It was 45,000 for the skate park, so absolutely can put that to, but also they had wording in there about wanting to allocate the remaining balance from the field, from the lights project, from the Savage Field Light Project. That's just shy of 32,000. It's 31,913, so just shy of 32,000. So that was going to be my question. If this article stayed, did you want to also put the language to allocate that 32 to Savage Field improvements, or do that at another time? But if you take the whole article off, then it's a moot point, I guess.
Mr. Chair,
The whole
can I just get a clarification then? Is that the project's going to be 77,000 or we're only going to pay
No, I think
12 out of the?
yeah, I think the skate park would be 45, but then the other money they would allocate to other things at Savage Field if there are other improvement
32,000?
projects.
Are you building a dome over there?
32,000 doesn't go as far as you think.
Apparently not.
Well, I mean, I know that there were talks about the structural, like the wall that's down
Uh-huh.
there. But I mean, I would,
Well, I guess I need clarification on other areas. And if it's like, are we just gonna, is that a blank check? Or are we gonna figure out what the other improvements are?
agree.
Not, that needs.
I mean, because I thought with this, the project had to be deemed complete, right? And then that money was then sent back to the general fund? Isn't that how we had to do?
No, it's as an article, so it would stay in the article for the purpose of that authorization. And if the project has been closed out and complete, then that money would need to be closed out if it's not being used, so it won't sit there, or reallocated to another purpose. But town meeting would need to do both on those, so you could either close it out to the general fund or repurpose it to something else. But again, I think to Mr. Kerrigan's point, without having a project-specific list, we need to have this finalized this week, so it's.
Maybe just pull the whole article off and then we can always, if we have a special town meeting, revisit that. All right, so.
I'm not opposed, I just.
No, it makes complete sense. Outside of that. There's equipment. For caves.
And then the other, one of the other questions would be Article 24, which I did put to the board a cost proposal, estimate proposal on the table tonight from the architect for the Carriage House project. We were, that's been a blank figure waiting for that amount. So there are three prices on that proposal. The first page is about $240,000 to do, bring the building up to code. They did find a leak in the roof. So replace the roof leak, bring the building up to code, and construct the fitness center would be $240,000. They are going to put a handicap accessible door in. So there will be a door. There's a window right now next to the big barn slider door. That will become a door. So that'll all be part of that $240,000. They then had, they did put together some estimates on some alternates. I think it was on page 5, is $120,000 estimate, which the architect felt was more than generous. He thinks that might be kind of high, but that would be to put a restroom in that building. I think the initial thought was right now, until we see what the future would be, if there was any programming in there, people would have to go to the main senior center building to use the restroom. But for $120,000, they could put one in that building right there. The last page, on page 9, we're not going to do right now. That is $230,000, which would be to put a lift to get to the second floor. But there hasn't been enough analysis done. That is a kind of a suspended hayloft up there, so there hasn't been enough analysis done to see whether, if it was kind of an open function space, how much load it could take. So that lift would get access to the second floor. But if the build out isn't going to happen on the second floor right now, then I would hold off on doing that lift. So it would be 240 for the fitness center portion. And then the question would be whether we wanted to put a bathroom in there for another 100 to 120.
Now, when you say bathroom, we're not talking one, we're talking obviously men's room, or is this just one single bathroom for 120?
I think there was the initial proposal was
Let's
to
see
put
what
one
you
on
want.
each corner, was on the first floor there, and as you look at the building to the left, one in
Right.
each corner there. But this might be, and again, I just looked it over this afternoon. I think this might be just for one, just to do one of those right now. I think that's why he felt it was very high estimate, because I think it's only.
I had spoke to Mr. Farrager about the warrant article for the senior center to do the renovation of the building. And so based on his estimate, and I told him I would not hold him to this number, but he thinks based upon the funding that's left from that warrant article in the repairs, he believes there's somewhere in the neighborhood of $150,000 that could be freed up from the senior center renovation itself that could be applied to the carriage house.
Okay.
Now, if that number is 150 or if it's self, but he had, based upon everything that he had received at that time, so I don't know if.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know the project initially was put out to do the painting and a porch repairs and a handicap accessibility for the porch, or lift on the porch. That came in over budget. So then we reissued the RFP just for the painting, and the painting came in under budget. So I'm not sure, we haven't put it back out again for the porch and the lift part of it on its own. So I'm not sure if that money that's left over, if Mr. Farrager feels that there's enough, then that's great, but I'm not sure what that number would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was based upon the estimates that he had received at the time.
Okay.
And even considering the lift, the electrical post repairs, porch repairs, miscellaneous repairs, medallions, railings, footings, his number was approximately 150, could potentially be reallocated.
I mean, I'm not against a restroom. I think it only makes sense to put one in there.
Right.
Invest that kind of money. But I was just wondering what we were going to get for 120. I mean, so it's one single.
I believe it's one, yeah. I think that the plan was to put two, one in each corner, but I think this might be just one to get started.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just a.
I mean, is it possible to gauge the necessity of the bathroom in there versus, if you move forward with partial renovation and then adding, I mean, I get, I don't want to sound inconsiderate.
Yeah, well, I
like-
mean, I hope if it was necessary, it would be part of the entire project versus a separate line item. I mean, obviously, January snow, like, you don't really want to go building a building, so it certainly would be a nice to have, but I mean, was it required of that building?
Yeah, I think I think
Oh, well,
the architect indicated we probably would need a waiver, but he felt that from the plumbing board, but he felt that the waiver would most likely be approved. It would be more so the convenience for the
yeah,
people that are using the facility, that if they did need to use the facility, they'd have to go outside to the main house to do that. So.
Great.
given our audience. So is the question what number we should put in this article?
Right, exactly. Yep. Whether you want to just do the 240 or the 360, or do 240 and then use the balance from the article, from the previous article for the painting project and use the balance from that one. So either way,
I mean, go ahead.
Look, so the 240 and the 120 get us the renovations plus the bathroom.
right.
Yeah, let's just do it. I mean, we're renovating the space, like, right now, I know Deb has pretty specific, like, ideas what she wants to do there, which is more of like an activity place, but like, if you have a bathroom in there, it just opens it up to be able to do like more things in the future. If we're gonna renovate the place, let's put a bathroom in it. Like, I really don't see that.
And it'll get the roof repaired, it'll get code, it'll be handicap accessible, that money would get all of
Yeah.
that.
I agree
Given
with
where
that.
it is and the audience they serve.
So if it was the 360, then whatever can be closed out from the renovation itself would just be turned back over to the general fund, or it could
Mr.
be.
Chair, I'm sorry, I can't hear. Do you have something you want to share?
There,
I just can't hear him. I'm sorry, I can't.
I'm just worried, I'm just, we're waiting here for something with the vets, whatever it is, Maggie injured, and you're disrespectful.
Well, sir, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
You're talking about.
There's an agenda.
Your agenda is not, you should have brought our agenda up.
I don't see the agenda.
I didn't know you had it on you.
Okay. We're not kids, we're
Sir,
grown-ups.
Mr. Chair,
I'm just being honest. I didn't even know.
I don't see it on the agenda,
It's
sir.
on the agenda.
I don't know.
I don't know. We would have gladly gone out of order. I didn't see anything on the agenda.
Yeah, I think it's here under administrative, the one day.
Business. It's like, now I'm looking.
Being disrespectful to you guys, but you disrespected me as a veteran.
Sir.
Sir, let's go.
Respect and tone.
If you were
Hold on one
speaking-
second. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
We'll go out of order. We'll go out of order.
Hold on. I don't see it.
Hold on.
It's on here.
Hold on.
Oh,
No, they're not on there. They're not on there. It's
Well-
under old and new business,
okay.
and it was about the Veterans Committee, but listen.
Oh, I thought it was about the one day liquor
No,
license.
it's not.
Well,
Listen, hold on. So we were just moving through. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
I apologize. I didn't know you, I didn't.
I mean, I don't think he understands Robert's rules.
It's okay.
It's up,
I mean,
but we
I-
also can't hear when other people are speaking, say. it's-
but going into this, I had just met and just mentioned, this is what we're gonna do. And,
I understand.
and that was it, but
It's an open meeting. I
so let's table that. and move on.
apologize. I'm just.
Let's go to the, so under all the new business, the discussion of, the suggestion by Mr. Jakonski of, establishing a veterans committee. We had met last week with the veterans organizations, and it was well received. So the recommendation would be that we move forward with doing an exploratory or an advisory committee with the town administrator, the veterans organization, where they could solicit input from the veterans organizations on ideas for the makeup, the number of members, the groups that should be involved, what the mission of the committee would be. And then once they come up with a recommendation, then to bring it back to the select board for approval.
Great.
So that would,
yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, usually if people are here, I know it's not, we will go out of order to like move things ahead of time so they don't have to sit here through the whole meeting. So I apologize.
I looked, I didn't see it.
It must have been just a lack of communication. 'Cause
let's move forward with this. So that was the recommendation. What's the pleasure of the board? is there.
I'm
Sorry.
so moved
Is
in
the
favor.
Committee to
It would,
just advise on the Veterans Office or?
it would be a committee that, it would be a veterans committee to, oversee the. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to determine. I think it was brought up in public comment last meeting. So I think the chair was just going to bring up to the board this week saying, does the board want to pursue this? Do we want to do something like this? So we have never done anything like this before. So we really would just like to get input. So ideas from board members, ideas from the veteran groups to see what issues that they would be involved in. One would be Memorial Day Parade. Certainly could be a committee that would be set up that could help organize that issue. But what are other issues that this committee could work on or could give us some direction on? So it wouldn't be that the veteran service officer wouldn't answer to that committee. I think it would be just kind of a committee, a veteran advisory committee that would meet and come up with suggestions or ideas that we could bring to myself, the veterans officer, the board on how we could, advance the veteran issues in Clinton.
You want to come up and just
Yeah.
be heard, so then that way.
But again, we'd have to talk about, I think as chair mentioned, how big of the committee would be, who would be on it, what's the mission, how often would they meet, all that type of stuff. So I think the intent was just to see if we would get the support from the board to go forward and work on this. I think.
So my experience is, I'm the state adjutant for all of the American Legions from Massachusetts. Many towns have advisory boards. So if issues do come up as far as the veterans being able, either communication with the veteran service officer, should there be new rules and regulations that come up, the veteran service office, veteran service organizations get that information first. Where foot's on the ground. So we hear it, we can communicate that back. I'm not even sure if he's aware that the state has changed what they're going to do with the veteran service officers, that they're all going to have to be VA certified. So that's coming down the pike. I don't even think he's aware of that. Then we had, things like the HERO Act comes up, the license plate program comes up, things like that. We can have an input so he's aware of what's going on as far as the veterans across the Commonwealth, specifically here in Clinton. And I think that, after what transpired last week, I think it's a bridge and it gives us better communication between the veteran service organizations and the VSO. And that's the main goal here, is to make sure that, that we have a voice and that, if something comes up, we can tackle it head on, So that's what the whole purpose of the meeting was last week. The American Legion definitely supports this to 100%. As I said, there are many, many communities that have this. And they work successfully. Fitchburg, Clemenster, they're all in the same buildings and things like that. Some meet quarterly, some meet monthly. It all depends on, what's going on. So that's, my input on that.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Mr. Chair, just for the record and for people watching at home, could you just give your name?
My name is Lisa McPhee. I am the post commander. I'm here with the vice commander of the post, Rebecca Cronin, and I am the state adjutant for the American Legion.
Thank you.
Very good. There's that, I'd like to make a formal motion,
Like of endorsement?
whatever you want to call it, so we can give the town administrator, this guidance to move forward with.
If guided.
Sure. I make a motion that we endorse, help me with what we're calling this, Mike, Veterans Committee. That's it? Okay. I make a motion that the select board endorse the creation of a Veterans Committee for purposes of feedback and communication with the Veterans Office and the town.
Second.
Any discussion? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All in
Thank you.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to make you wait.
All right, so to go back to, just to the warrant, so the number we're saying is 260? It's 360?
Senior center.
Right.
Okay, so that's 24.
And
Outside of that, there didn't, I don't think there, well, does anyone else have any questions or any warrants that they want to discuss? I know that, Article 45 about the, dog park, what the pleasure of the board is there.
Mr. Chair, generally, we let the citizens petitions go. I mean, that's always been tradition since I've been on. Like, we have to. Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. All right, and then my only other question would be related to Article 44. Is that something that, the building inspector could kind of provide?
I mean,
some input on,
I'm going to
or?
be speaking in opposition to it. It has to do with our green communities thing. It's something the town's did 5 years ago, and I think 300 out of 351 in the state are
Okay.
do this. So I'm not, sounds good. Not sure where this is coming from. I'd be curious if anyone's going to speak in favor of it, but
I'll be speaking in favor of it.
in favor of the,
44.
Article 44.
okay, this should be good.
Yeah.
Tune in, folks.
All right, so, any other questions on the warrant? Is that?
no, so maybe if the board want to vote, a couple things, if we wanted to vote to approve the warrant with the removal of Article XYZ, subject to final language, review by town council. Town council has gone through it. We've made some changes, but just in case, if he had any last minute change, that the board's okay with any changes that he might suggest at that time. And of course, there may be some typos here and there. But I think the board talked about removing 21, 22 for ARPA,
21, 22, and 25.
25
Yeah.
and 27.
Yeah.
27. And actually, on the stabilization fund, we had discussed 750. Is it the preference to stay at 5, or?
No, I think 750 would be fine too. Yeah,
Seven was
because I
fine.
think there is I think some leeway in the surplus, the free cash surplus, to if you want to move that into the stabilization, because otherwise it would close out and just come back next year. This way it's in the stabilization. That'd be a good idea. Sure.
So Article 10 would be 750. Would we need to make a motion on that as well, or is that, would that be determined by the finance committee?
No, I think the board would put in the amount, I think, on this here. So you could make that as a separate vote and then just do a vote on the general warrant with removal of those 4 articles.
Mr. Chair, I move that we amend the draft warrant for town meeting, Article 10, change the fund from, change the sum from 500,000 to the stabilization fund to 750,000 to the stabilization fund.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anything else?
21, 22.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the draft annual town meeting warrant, removing Articles 21, 22, 25, and 27. Subject to final report from the finance committee.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And what about Article 24?
Yeah.
360?
24.
The carriage house?
Oh, that 360. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe put that. Yeah, I should have said. But I guess if
Just,
We're here.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we, for Article 24, we use the sum of $360,000 and that we also approve the warrant article in totality.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that closes that out. And then,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think we went over the livery licenses.
Delivery license?
Yeah.
Was there?
We did livery, we didn't
Yeah.
do.
We did already.
Yeah, I
Administrative
took that one. out.
Guess it was.
In between.
We're at town meeting, town administrator.
All right, town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one issue, just wanted to thank
So you had two.
the Superintendent of Public Works and the Department of Public Works for their work. We had a major sewer failure in the Greeley Street area. The street was kind of partially closed for a couple of days. And there was a lot of major problem that needed to be corrected. So I want to thank them for their work and for the superintendent of keeping me updated on that, on the progress of that project. So that's mostly just wanted to put out there for this week. And otherwise, since last meeting, it's been mostly just warrant and budget and that we've been working on. So could have more information to follow next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the Department of Public Works, and thank you for taking the time to recognize their efforts. The administrative business, 1-day wine and malt liquor license for the Veterans of Foreign War, post 523 for May 27th, 2024. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve a 1-day all alcohol liquor license for the Veterans of Foreign Wars post 523 for their Memorial Day open house on May 27th.
I'll
Second.
it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Water sewer trash abatement request totaling $1,291.42.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Old and new business, FY 25 budget update.
I think just in the packet, there was a copy of the current budget as of the last finance committee meeting. So just wanted, again, if there were any ideas or comments from the board to bring back finance committee's meeting tomorrow and Monday to do the warrant tomorrow and then try to wrap up the budget on Monday. The public hearing on the budget is next Thursday, and then Friday it needs to be on file with the town clerk. So just didn't know if there was any feedback from the board. Otherwise, they'll continue their work to balance it. There is still some work to do final balance.
Very good. Next item, electric vehicle charging stations fee discussion.
So just to bring forward, as the board discussed at the last meeting about the charging stations that were not being, a purchase fee was not being established there. So we did, after the meeting, so as the board requested, we did temporarily disable those two charge. There are two charging stations, one at the Parks and Rec building, one at the elementary school. They each have 2 ports, so there are actually four stations there. And so those are shut down until a fee policy has been established. So looking at the Parks and Rec bill, it appears that based on the supplier charge, the per kilowatt hour supplier charge, and all the other regulatory, the distribution charge and all the other regulatory charges, it's approximately about 25 cents per kilowatt hour for to break even for use of those stations. So with that, I think the assistant town administrator had done kind of a little bit of a survey of the Charge Point is a company that runs the machines that are in Clinton. So Angela kind of went through and pulled out some of the rates that area towns are charging, and just to give the board some guidance to see if how we want to go forward on establishing a fee going forward. Whether the board wanted to just go with the 25 cents just to cover costs right now, or if you want to look at some of these other ways of doing it, and I'll let Angela wants to add to it. I think there was a suggestion of maybe doing a tiered the first hour of covering costs, and then maybe tier up so that people aren't taking all the facility just for one use. So anything you want to add?
Oh, just that different towns, some do it by the hour, some do, the first hour's free. One of them was a fast charger, so in an hour you're done. But all the other ones, except for West Boylston, are the same type of charger that we would have.
And forgive my ignorance here, I have an old fashioned car. How does this work then? So it's a buck, in sterling, it's $1.19 for the first hour, or is that per kilowatt hour? I don't,
So these are all by the hour.
all right, so $1.19, and then generally how long does it take to fill up one of these cars? Ballpark?
Could be, depends on how much charge you have left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be 2 hours you're there, you know, you're at the ball fields, you're charging your car.
So this kilowatt hour, I should not worry about that so much, just worry about.
That's a cost per, yeah, that's a cost per. But like they had mentioned
This is per kilowatt or per hour?
right here, this one here it's 18 cents per kilowatt hour.
Oh,
So Sterling charges $1.19 for the charge. So they're covering their cost of the kilowatt.
okay, so this number here is a dollar or cents? Like 6.6 cents? Or $6.06?
That's
That's-
6 kilowatts.
It's a kilowatt, not a kilowatt.
$1.21.
Little bit different. Running through my brain. What?
So I'm gonna follow, you look at your electric bill at home?
So just so you're also aware that ChargePoint they take 10% of whatever that is collected for the credit card fee, you know, for the app. They would send us, they would collect the fees, and then once a month they would do a wire transfer to the town with whatever's collected. So I think whatever you set, probably see how it goes for the first year, and then you can adjust it. And
Yeah, I think, in looking at this and it seemed, based on what I had read, like the average vehicle, I think it holds 65 kilowatts, right? So you figure like that was kind of the gist of it. So they said that it could take up to like 6 hours or whatever, but depending on the charger. But I would just make a recommendation that if we just did a $1, like $1.25 per hour, because it seems like for the most part they seem to be at least $1 on top of the kilowatt hour, and just keep it consistent. So whether they're there for 1 hour or 4 hours, it would just be $1.25 per hour. And one of the things that the company had mentioned, that ChargePoint mentioned, was to prevent people from having their vehicle charged and then sitting there after it's done charging, you could invoke a $5 per hour fee on top of that to basically motivate them to move the vehicle so another vehicle could get in there. So it sounded like it was fairly simple to set up, but I would say my recommendation would be $1.25 per hour, and invoke that $5 per hour for the penalty if the vehicle stays there longer than an hour over. But that would be,
Who enforces that? How do we
just charges. That once you go in through the app,
yeah.
it just would automatically just charges you.
But how is somebody gonna know if somebody's car is charged fully and is just taking?
I would think on the app it tells. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so everyone who joins it has the app and they know that that person's car is charged?
No, I think.
You
Yeah.
would know
Could,
your
you
car.
could, or you could do it,
Yeah.
there's a screen on the machine. So you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
watch there, that'll tell you when it's charging. So if you don't have the app should tell you, but if you
Right.
don't have it, you can.
I know my car is charged. I'm saying this penalty fee of keeping your car there if it's already charged.
So it tells you when you go, like when I.
Oh, you just get charged.
It shows you what the rates are. So when you look up the Clinton ones, I'm sure there's a way that it'll say.
So we'll be able to look through like an electronic record and it'll say the car was fully charged at 3:00, but he kept it plugged in for another 2 hours and we can charge it. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm in favor of that. So are we making a motion on it?
Yeah, that would be,
So moved. I'm in favor of the one, what are you laughing at? Kilowatt man. I thought $1.25 per hour and then.
he
for-
uses kerosene lamps.
Yeah, he'll, when we do the horse and buggy station, Sean can speak up.
pretending.
Yeah, these kilowatts speaking. So $1.25 per hour for the first 4 hours, and then after that, a $5 fee.
So it'd be $1.25 per hour,
Yeah.
and then a $5 fee once the vehicle is fully charged. So
Okay,
it could
yes,
be,
all right.
it could be 2 hours, you could be.
Okay,
charging the
understood.
vehicle for
Yes.
2 hours.
Yes, so moved.
It goes up to 10 hours. I just did 1 hour. I just showed 1 to 4 hours on the chart. So I just think you do $1.25 charging and then the $5 non-charging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we can, like you had mentioned, we can.
Yeah.
If we have to adjust, we can adjust on the fly, and then hopefully, these other charging stations being installed keep a similar. But yeah, all right, sounds good. So,
Motion on the table.
did you second it?
Nobody seconded squat.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for putting this together. This was very
Thank you.
helpful.
And I think at least will give us some data to review that when the other municipal lots that Mr. Duffy's pursuing, then we'll kind of have a better sense as to what the policy could be going forward.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Next item, treasurer collector recruitment.
Just looking to, this week is, I think with the application, it's open until filled, but this week we're gonna start review of candidates. So we'd like to put a screening committee together. So asking if, there would be any volunteers from the board that would like to be involved with
Yeah,
that.
I would like to, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Sounds good.
If we did one so it can, if we have one from the board, that'd be great. I think we could do a select board personnel and financial officer. So that'd be good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Next item, 12-month union meeting schedule.
This one, yeah, okay, I asked for this one. So this is a proposal and just up for debate. It's the first time. I mean, I think we may have hinted at it a couple other times, but once we know that a union group is coming up for negotiations, what would prevent us from however long, I mean, sometimes these negotiations can go on for like 6 months, right? What would prevent us from ahead of time setting up meetings, whatever frequency we think is appropriate, once a month, twice a month, with whatever group it is, and just getting it set out 6, 8, 12 months in advance, however long we think it's going to be. Try and schedule select board meetings such that the union meetings are always like the week before a select board meeting. So you meet with unions on the week before. They have questions that have to come to the select board in executive session. We have that meeting the following week. They can get their answers back quickly. Because I think what might happen sometimes is like we meet as a select board and then there's a union meeting and then they have to wait like 2 weeks to get an answer to some questions. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, it'll still be fluid. Things will come up, things will have to change, but at least like we'll have a roadmap of dates set out far in advance. Nobody can be pointing fingers at, we're waiting on them, they're waiting on us. We thought they said that they were going to reach out to us, the blah, 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 blah. Like just squash that. Send the meeting schedule proposal out to the union groups. Get them to agree to it or amend it. Get it back to us and just put it to bed. Those are the dates moving forward. We'll amend them as necessary. But is there any reason why we don't think that we can do that? Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Is that a motion?
I can make it a motion. I was figuring it would be a little bit of a discussion, but I can make a motion if.
Does it need a motion?
No, as long as you could give direction and certainly we can do that. And I think if the board then, I think the direction then would be, we could certainly schedule that as to when select board meetings are coming. And then the intent would be then every time we have a session that you'd like to get an update from, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So we don't, so sometimes it might be brief if it's just a brief meeting or exchange proposals. If there's longer, more, decision to be made, then that might be a little bit longer. So we'll
Yeah.
just make sure.
You know what, for the heck of it, well, I'd like to make a motion to encourage, authorize, instruct the town administrator's office to work with union groups and schedule union meetings out in advance to the perceived amount that the union negotiations are going to go. So you have some discretion, if you think the union negotiations are going to go 6 months, you can do it 6 months, use your discretion on that. That's the motion.
Okay, thank you. And just a question too, in terms of, because now we're getting into the next fiscal year, the contracts are all up June 30th. So would you want the town to initiate the
No.
discussions?
No.
Okay.
Not personally.
I'm not, so help me understand that.
We get the deal that's on the table until they renegotiate.
Correct.
So it's in their interest to come to the table before it is ours. We're only gonna pay them more. We're not getting a discount.
Right, so I'm trying to understand what would be the harm in,
There's no harm, but
if we had said,
This is-
whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just like that gesture.
sure. No, we're ready whenever they're ready.
Right,
I think
right.
that- I think
So-
that's been
We're always
the
ready.
case. We're always ready.
Right. So if we're always ready, let's just put a date out there
When
and.
they're ready, we'll make a schedule.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, the motion I just made is the complete opposite of what you guys are just saying right now.
I thought you
So-
said when we meet, it's gonna be before our meeting, so. we
No,
can-
when we know that negotiations are going to be happening, it sounds like what you're saying is you want to wait for them to reach out to propose dates to meet. I'm saying, why can't we just send out a schedule of proposed meeting dates and get them to amend it if they want and get feedback one way or the other? But if you're saying that you want to wait for them to initially reach out and just say, we want to negotiate, for some reason, they're not going to do that. That's something that they've done in the history of unions. That's fine. If we want to wait until they say we're ready to negotiate or we want to negotiate, that's fine. But once the interest has been, once they declare that they are willing to and they want to negotiate, I think we should just set a schedule out to them for them to review and amend it if necessary and give it back to us. So we just have the dates laid out for a year and we no longer have to hear the complaints of, when are we getting together again? We were asking this and I don't even know I don't even want to get into who's not scheduling, who should be requesting it and because there's two sides to every story. But I'm just kind of tired of hearing it. And I just would like the dates set out in advance so that nobody can complain about it anymore. So that if they come to any of us and complain about union negotiations or when are we getting together, they'll never be able to say that anymore because the dates will already be set. And they'll know in advance that it's happening 2 weeks on the schedule that you guys approved.
That sounds, is that feasible?
Sure.
Okay.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm the only
that
one
hurt.
with a second.
That hurt.
All right. All in favor? Any discussion?
Any opposed? I didn't hear it. I just want to be sure.
One last question before we move on to the community announcements there.
Financial policies manual?
No, so as far as the budgeting, we had talked about pulling the technology requests out of the department's budgets. Has that been reflected in the FinCom budget?
I don't think as of yet, no. I think it was only what they discussed on Tuesday. I don't think we didn't get into that detail yet.
So that would be tomorrow?
I think they would discuss tomorrow, be more Monday. I think by Monday, I think they would.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
they,
so tomorrow, I think they're trying to get the warrant done. I think Monday would be more of the detail of
where
finalizing.
things at, understood. All right. Um, I'm gonna skip the financial policy.
And then the,
Yeah,
it just had down for the financial policies if.
Oh, that wasn't on the original pack. Can't wait for Microsoft 365. 24/7. All right. Financial Policies Manual, staff has completed a draft of financial policies for review and adoption by the Select Board.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if, I know I'd sent them out to the board last week, if there were any questions or any issues or anything that, the staff for, a number of months has been working on. It's a template that came from DOR.
Okay.
And then the staff worked on them for a number of months to kind of make sure that they conform to town of Clinton operations. And I know there's a lot there. So I just didn't know if there was any feedback or question and if the board was okay with them. So-
Yeah.
No, it's very comprehensive. I was just curious, where the template came from. So, yeah, if our teams worked on it and it comes from the DOR, I'm happy to move that we adopt the financial policies manual as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Thank you for putting that together.
It's very comprehensive.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Committee reports, any committee reports? All right. Will be none. Community announcements. Volunteers needed. The Select Board is seeking interested individuals to serve on various town boards and commissions. Please visit the town website, clintonma.gov, and go to the boards and commissions page for a list of all boards in terms of appointments. An online application is available on this page for your convenience. Applications are due by May 31st at 4 p.m. You can also find this information on the news flash on the front of the homepage. Rotary Club Downtown Cleanup. The Clinton Rotary Club will be holding its annual Cleanup Clinton Day on Saturday, May 25th from 9 a.m. to noon. Any interested persons, groups, or teams who would like to participate should meet at the Clinton Police Station, Union Street side at 9 a.m. The Clinton Police Department will supply sticks, bags, and gloves, and the area of concentration will be all along the Memorial Day parade route. To sign up to help, contact Terry Engano at terryengano@gmail.com. Memorial Day Parade. The annual Memorial Day ceremony and parade will take place on Monday, May 27th at 9 a.m. The ceremony will take place in Central Park. Following the ceremony, the parade will start from corner of Union Street and Walnut Street. Parade will make stops at Depot Square, Woodlawn Cemetery, and concludes at St. John Cemetery. We had heard from the Council on Aging. They wanted to take a moment to recognize Stella Mack, who turned 102 today, who is Clinton's oldest citizen or resident. Stella had received the Boston Post Cane Award. The original cane is in a glass case here in the select chamber. And they also wanted to extend their condolences to the Gallagher family, the passing of Lois Gallagher, who was the oldest resident in Clinton, who had passed away on Monday, May 6th, at the age of 103. Our condolences to the Gallagher family and happy birthday to Stella. Any other announcements, any plugs? That's it. All right, so the next time we meet will be town meeting.
Right.
Really?
June 3rd, and look, we can get another one in if Ed wants. June 3rd. We'll do the annual town meeting. And then the annual town election will be June 10th. So we will see you June 3rd.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.